Good evening. My name is Diya Mishra, and my topic for today is India's growth paradox, why a fast growing economy still feels unequal. India is one of the largest growing economies in the world, and we are growing at nearly 7% annually. But here's the real question: if India is growing so fast, why don't most Indians feel richer? Because growth in India is real, but inclusion, that's the real crisis. India today faces a growth paradox. On paper, inflation is at its historic lows at nearly 1 to 2%. GDP growth is amongst the highest globally, and unemployment rate is officially only around 4.9%. Sounds perfect, right? But reality tells a different story. The top 10% of Indians earn nearly 58% of India's income, and the bottom 50% earn just 15%. Let that sink in. This is not just inequality, this is economic imbalance at scale. The real issue is not just unemployment, it is bad jobs and hidden underemployment. Even today, millions of graduates are still unemployed or underemployed, and many are stuck in low paying informal work. And here's the deeper problem: India is growing, but it's not actually creating enough quality jobs. Manufacturing, the sector that creates mass employment, has been stuck at 14% GDP for years. So, where do people go? They go back to agriculture, they go back to gig work, and they go back to informal jobs, which means that growth is happening, but prosperity isn't spreading. Now, layer this with global risks: rising oil prices due to geopolitical tensions, the rupee is weakening, and capital outflows hitting the markets. All of these factors increase cost of living, create inflationary pressure, and bring economic uncertainty. So, even if inflation is low today, future shocks can hit the poorest Indians the hardest. This is not just an economic issue, it's a social stability issue. When growth is unequal, consumption weakens. If consumption weakens, social mobility reduces. And if social mobility reduces, frustration rises. And most importantly, a country cannot become a global superpower if half of its population is left behind. So, what do we do? Well, there are four things that we must do right now. Firstly, is that we fix job creation and not just growth. We have to push manufacturing in this country, something like a Make in India 2.0, and focus more on labor intensive sectors. Secondly, go for an all around skill revolution. Align education needs with industry needs. Focus on AI, digital, and vocational skills. Because even today, our syllabus is outdated and the skills imparted to youth are well redundant. Third, support MSMEs. MSMEs in India create the most jobs. They improve credit access in the economy and reduce compliance burden for the people. Thus, we must support the MSMEs. Fourth, target inequality directly by progressive taxation for the upper bracket Indians and better public health care and education, because that's where the poorest spend their money the most on. But implementation is not going to be easy. There will be policy delays, skill mismatch, global uncertainty, and political trade offs, which means that our reforms must be consistent, not reactive. We must understand that India does not have a growth problem. India actually has a distribution problem. The next decade will not be decided by how fast India grows, but by how many Indians grow with it. Because real development is not when GDP rises, it is when every citizen rises with it. Thank you.